Sorry, I let the screen go dark so the video cut out. Right, as I was saying, that cats, and dogs and that, they're going to transfer germs and worms. And I've translated, worms are important because you've got to understand the tapeworm, for instance, holds you in such a pain energy grip if you don't feed it meat that, you connect to basically archon energy. And it becomes harder and harder to resist. So the more meat you eat, the harder it is to resist, being part of the matrix, being inured, eating like lower density food, and you'll be in more pain, you'll have more diseases, you'll have more problems in your body. But energetically, you'll be held in like a pain state that brings you into your physical body and out of vision, out of cosmic vision. You're not exactly going to be like closing your eyes, relaxing as much. However, when you do that, you can fight the tapeworm with that, with vision, with closing your eyes and enhancing your third eye. Raises the vibration of the body. Even the Holy Bible, right? I'm not Christian, I'm not religious, but the Bible says, let thy eye become single and thine body shall fill with light. And that higher light, that's what I'm talking about, all the higher dimensions. And people call it high densities, but the dimensions are not just the layers of manifestation of light, right? They're that too, but there's worlds within worlds, and that's what I'm discussing when I soon discuss like the beings in there, like all these entities. Coming up on the channel, so subscribe. Anyway, whoop, bottle tipped over. Matrix just reloaded a demon onto me. Gnarly. Right next to me, awesome. Okay, there's no wind. Right, that's my chi kicking a entity off, which is like a bad vibration. You'll feel it as if you're unconscious of it, and then you can view it in vision. If you close your eyes, you look at the vibration, there'll be an entity there chewing on your DNA, light codes basically. A little 72 geoetic demon. 72 of them. Have fun. It's like this place is psycho, Sometimes I think that this world's built a bit nuts, but maybe there's something other than that to the story. Or maybe it is a dastardly matrix, after all. I'm just super positive. maybe I'm too positive, I don't know. We're going to sort through that on the channel. Subscribe, because we're going to sort through that sort of stuff on this channel. So hit the subscribe button and press the little bell so you get every video, and then you can connect everything I'm saying for free. You don't have to donate. I'm not forcing you to donate. Like sometimes I'll stop the channel so you realize it's not really, I'm not forcing you. I'm going to end up, posting again one day. But think about it. You pump energy in. I'm going to be able to, make more videos, think more, spend more time on this, get better software, make better visuals, get better microphone, better equipment, think more as well, right? All of it, all the levels. Let's not be naive about it. You put energy in it, creates stuff. So donate to this channel if you want to see it get better, right? We can just say that. So, I think animals have vision too, and you need to be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This would be a perfect example of that. Thinking like quartz crystal, it's like too far into the thought without remembering everything else. That's all it is. You're just too far into that thought, you obsess on that thought and you forget other stuff. So that's why I said the video title and made the video is Quartz Crystal. That lady who talks on Matrix videos on YouTube, is she forgetting concrescence? Because what I think is the real deal, and I'm a shaman, so I'm looking at this, and yes, she's a lady shaman. But I'm seeing that, there are animals like this cat that have vision, and I can see how he can, it's not just he's mimicking, he's really learning for himself. Like, so you gotta define your kid. Did you just marry an organic portal? It's possible. I don't know how many there are, what the percentage is. Some people say 80%. The more I see it, I think the more those people are that are saying high percentage rates for organic portals are just not seeing it in such a defined manner as I'm defining it more. And that, like I already talked about this, I don't think it's 99% of people, because that is actually probably what the concrescences are. There's probably only 1% of people who are true geniuses in the generation, the concrescence of that entire generation, and they're the collective conscious person of that field. See, that's a miniature field, or akashic, some level of acacia, like generational, right? Under the generation term, generation human, generation Y, or generation X, or baby boomer, or whatever, right? And if you understand that there's waves towards the end of history, in that 2012 end date, there were waves of drawing you inside yourself, called indigo waves, right? And it's just drawing you inside yourself. And that if you surfed the concrescence to the eschaton, that's what I did, and I'm writing a book about it now, then you're much more likely to be a full-on, concrescence or complexity knot in reality, like a knot of complexity of ideas, for instance. And clearly I have this energy. Look at me go all day. Right? Every day I can do this. I can give you 10 videos a day if you donate, right? Start donating more and I'll put in more time. I'll give you everything that I know. But I need the energy too, otherwise I'm going to seek it elsewhere, right? It's natural. It's how the universe works. It'll work around. If you guys block me, I'll work around it. It's just natural. Don't hate me, because you ain't me. So, look, I think there's animals out there that are going to be something that can teach us, to a certain extent, things in space, if we ever get there. If we ever go to space, will it happen? Oh, they say we're in space, that's what they say, but they have millions of dollars to fabricate this all day long. Let's see what happens if you give me millions of dollars. Let's see what I could fabricate. I bet I could do a pretty good job. Yeah, well, I made my money on social media. Right. I don't know if you understand that joke or not. Let's refer to little alien videos propped up with called video editing. Hey, created a whole movement that shows you organic portals are out there. They're just very gullible. Now, there's the type of innocent gullible that I used to be. It's a type of, I still have that. It's just like that innocent. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's not what the organic portal has, because they're more psychopathic in their nature. They're not that innocent version of it, right? So anyway, I think that there's animals out there that we need to also be taking a space. Like I said years ago, I think in the wheatgrass video I did, in the back of this Linda lady's house, I did a wheatgrass video for the $30 Bandit Food Plant Teaching series that I do. And in that I was saying that some plants are going to come to space with us if we ever get there. Like cannabis, because I was just trying to make you realize cannabis even more. Because, it's turning on 700 genetic effects. Remember, vitamin D is 3,000. Curcuma is 700 as well. So it's equal to curcuma, this cannabis. Don't forget that that's in genetic effects. Vitamin D does 10% of our 30,000 genes, and so that's 3,000. And you've got cannabis, which has a whole system dedicated to it, even more than curcuma, because curcuma is just these three compounds, the curcuma A, B, and C. And, I know we have nicotine receptors, but it's just not the same thing. If you understand what the cannabinoid system is doing, they're not the same thing. It's different level. Cannabis is more hormonal, and hormonal is master triggers in the body. They tell bloody vitamins, what to do, right? So anyway, it's high level. So I was saying that, plants like cannabis will have to come to space with us, because what else are you going to do out there? Eat lettuce? Well, then you're going to degrade into an organic portal form, into a shabby body. That is the true 2D, lower vibrational organic portal, completely unconscious organic portal, the 2D one, not the 3D version, which is like the seed point of, sovereignty, their egos, so they can be even smart, and that's why they have the narcissism, because narcissism is related to ego as well. I've talked about narcissism in a higher manner, but this time I'm talking about it in the lower way, how it's relative to ego. I've talked about it, how it can tighten your great work, but that's if you're a great man or a higher soul doing, for instance, a magnus opus, or a great woman. But if you're doing magnus opus, right, then narcissism is like a tightening of your code and concentration, like not giving your time out, and narcissistic with your time, and stuff like that. Anyway, so I think animals can be like the same, that there's also a degradation process. Like if you denutritionalize and malnutrition the body, not necessarily do you fall back into enlightenment, right? People are acting like veganism is enlightenment. This is just not true. You've got to stop acting like that, because that's erroneous and spurious. It's incorrect. Veganism does not equal enlightenment. Yes, it's very true to say that, if you stop, eating in those higher fashions like liquitarian or veganism or monofruitarian or fruitarian or breatharian, right? If you stop doing that, you're giving up spiritually. But we are beings which are on a sine wave. We're ascending and descending. Minute to minute, day to day. It's called a theory of resonance, and Terence McKenna introduced it from a time wave he found that he took from the I Ching, an ancient Chinese divinatory system. He drew an energetic oscillation on a Cartesian graph so everybody could understand it. And so what I'm saying is that animals have this natural ability to see the time waves, to see the resonance theory in action, because they're conscious. The concrescent, like my little Oro, this little cat, that's what I'm saying, not all cats. No, there are organic portals in every species. Do you understand? It's a stabilization functionality, and so you can organic portalize yourself by inuring yourself by, if you don't research for yourself, for instance, and that's cross-horizontal. You're believing what someone told you. That's called horizontal, because matter and, hearsay is horizontal. Didn't come through you. It didn't come through your spirit. You're just believing what someone said, It's said that, spirit is vertical on the cross of matter. This is why we can time travel in the third eye at all. Do you see that? Because time is like the layers horizontally, and like if you draw a line on a bit of paper and then you draw little lines, all the way through it. So, spirit is vertical on the horizontal cross of matter, and that's why in our third eye we travel back to past lives, and that's why there's like spiritual hippie ladies out there doing regression techniques, right, where they take you into hypnosis and, they heal you from the past karma and all that. So what I'm saying is that, there's animals out there, like I'm sure my little Oro here, this cat, he would be like that, and plenty of animals in nature, because I've seen them. I look back through my third eye in the events of namaste moments. Yeah, that's what they are. They're namaste moments with animals throughout my life. That was just like flashing through them. I was thinking, anytime like I've seen an animal and I had that moment where you're going, hey, whoa, he looks conscious as me. But then you see other ones that look glassy-eyed. You've heard people say like this terminology, glassy-eyed. That's the organic portal people. It's a very obvious unconscious state. It's very obvious. And also what I realized is that the tapeworm, having worms in your gut, so if you eat a lot of meat and you have a lot of worms in your gut, that they work with the mucosa membrane of the human body, and it actually layers up into your eyes. Now, I've experimented, I'm a food health enthusiast, and I'm a longevity and vitality coach. Longevity and vitality. So I look into like a lot of superfood stuff. I've done all that on nutritional theories and blah, blah, blah. And what I find interesting about this is that, nobody even says this level deep. I've never heard anyone say this, the tapeworms controlling the mucosa. I've not heard a single person say that, but all the parasites, they're working together. And so, when you denutritionalize the body, or if you eat too much meat, for instance, you can start to get a glassy-eyed nature, and your body slows down, the brain slows down, you don't think as much. Now, earlier I mentioned because I ground, I have more chi, life force, movement, energy flowing through the body because I stand bare earth foot, my feet barefooting. And so I have a lot of chi energy when I do that, and so can you. That's what I think is the case. And, that's entering vision as well. This movement enters vision, and your brain can actually turn on like a projector, right? And the pineal can move. The pineal gland is not just a gland. It has little crystallized nature, and the magnetites, which is scientifically verified, thank you very much. And the magnetites can spin in the pineal, I'm sure of it. I'm sure that this is a crystal cradle, right? And, that's called the crystal room in Taoism, the upper Danjian, the upper major energetic center. And this is why, the third eye is such a big thing in Indian culture, right? So, because that's the upper center, and I call it cosmic tinkering force. If you're in Wu Ji, they call it, the Taoists. But in Indian culture, for instance, a lot of people know about that third eye and the chakras, right? I think it's been made famous from Tibet and India and all that, right? So, when you talk about the third eye, well, this is a stream of light. It's not just like the pineal, a physical gland is the third eye. That's retarded. That's organic portal thinking. They're the fake woke people. If you ever read that in an article, you don't read anything more from that person. You move on and go, oh, organic portal. Now you know. And that's why organic portal is such a big block spiritually, because they always reduce and lower contextualize, like one of my videos titles, everything into physical reality. It must be ego-based. It must be physical reality. Everything must be pragmatic. Thank God science discovered quantum physics, huh? That helped us out a lot. that was a Shanti move, Shanti Nilaya, move on. And I thought that was very interesting when everyone was going on about that, because there's no mystery to me from feeling this from a child walking barefoot. I was a surfer, so I'm always at the beach barefoot, and the crystals on the beach, they're crystals and stones. So the stones, they're holding different energies, so I was always a complexity, not just walking on the beach. But there's this thing with the organic portal that they're just unconscious. They can walk on the beach and nothing happens. They can take a psychedelic and they just go mentally ill. And that's what we're saying about that. There's these people, and everyone's calling them soulless humans, and I say self-spiritless humans. And they're not in connection with their higher self. But the thing is, when I ground, I seem to connect into that energy, and the human light body seems to be in some way basically the earth. Like, you are the earth, and the light body is not just some cosmic, far off distant thought that's some spiritual madness. It's like, if you stand on the earth, you can get this thing. So you don't have to necessarily just take a shitload of acid or something. And I'm against synthetics, because that's, again, lower contextualizing it, decompartmentalizing it. Now that can have therapeutic uses, but it ain't no psychedelic entheogen. And it is not like taking the hand of the mushroom, which is a being, clearly a being that you communicate with. And when you take an acid tab, it's just not that, it's not it. It's not the being, you're not connecting with the universe, it's not doing that. All that does is it creates a synthesia in your brain, which can still be, yes, an advancement. And so thus it has some use, right? But it's so little. It's not fractal, it's not alive, it's not connected, and it's not a being. It's not a spirit helping you. You can't talk to it like a friend. Phone a friend, Eddie, you know, in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that show. Oh, I can't believe that entered the lecture. So anyway, I think, you know, this is all natural, and this could be a process too in souling, you know, to giving soul. And so that I think animals in nature, also to reiterate, will be, you know, some of them will have souls or self-spirited, whatever you want to call it. They're basically the same thing, because if you're not self-spirited, you're not connecting to your soul individually. And you'll be part of a 2D group, flatland, surface virus soul. And I'm pretty sure your time is done, because the universe is moving past it. And that's why I called this playlist Organic Portal's Legacy List. And that's why I have videos called Organic Portal Apocalypse. Ain't my apocalypse, baby. I'm going to keep going. You know, souls outlive the system. And yeah, that's why I called it Organic Portal Apocalypse a year or two ago now. A long time ago, I made those videos. Have you guys watched all my videos? Because then this all connects up, and I'm moving the channel forward. And what I'm doing is crescendoing. It's called a crescendo in music. That's what I'm doing with my philosophy. So people are like, oh, why don't you talk about reptilians? Well, just wait your ass, sit your ass down and subscribe first. I've got a plan. Right? Maybe at 40,000 subscribers, not at 4,000, thanks. Because too much things can go wrong. I've got a higher plan for the channel, so just donate, help. It'll come back to you in better videos, if that's what you're worried about. If you know you need a return on your investment, you know, you need to trust the universe more. You know, someone like me is someone probably that you should give a little bit more to. Just saying, just a little bit more, because there's not many, I think, people who can put it together like this. Do you disagree? Who else? Who else? Put it under the comments. Say, tell me who's putting it together like this. I'd like to know, because in one sentence I'm going to show you how they're not. So be careful when you comment. I'll get ya in one sentence. Yeah, you'll be proved a moron. One of the Rons more. So you better not be appealing to an unconscious, fallacious argument. Oh, this person, Ben, because everybody says so. No, I'm going to take it to some serious fact level. But not beyond that. It's going to be a complexity argument with me always. And you're never going to be able to beat it. Try. Comment. Tell me who's doing it better. There's only two people in the world, in my opinion, who have a more complex, great work in existence. But that's only now. And that's Terence McKenna. Because the depth of that goes into time. Although I've added to that too. No one has said, you know, time is from the 9th dimension, but I will. I'll tell you that the time wave zero that Terence McKenna discovered, that's a 9th dimensional oscillation coming through to this dimension. And I know that sounds weird and distant, but it's embedded in the field you walk in. That's how you can think of it, in the electrical electrons. Yep, in the big electron. Because it's all connected and everything is literally one thing. So people are like, oh, we are not one. Okay, well, you're here in oneness. So you better realize that that's the ego talking, and the ego seeks separation necessarily. It seeks separation because it's the steward of your physical body. Now, when I talk about integrating the cosmic truth, what happens is a relaxing of that nature, which also will change your brain and make your brain quicker and more able to accept the next evolutionary message from the universe, which can be minute to minute. You could read it second to second, or you could read the universe in the moment of now, right? So it can be hourly, and these are all resonance cycles, right? These are just circles within circles. And that's what I'm saying, that Terence McKenna discovered that and put it on a graph in a little line. Instead of circles, he put it in a very understandable fashion in that, well, he found the fractal pattern, right? It's a pattern. So I find that interesting. And what I'm saying to you is that a soul human can feel this pattern through time. And the oscillations at every fractal level, ultimately, ideally, right? And that there's animals in nature who are like that. So when this lecture is titled, animal like humans, and then humans, obviously the human is the one who can openly see the energy coming into the universe. And I believe that's called something. The shaman. Oh. That's what's meant by completion, and also completion of the cultural archetypes, wherein the shaman knows who stole the chicken. You know what I mean? that old adverb. But what's interesting is that when we look at the shaman, he's the one in the deep vision, right? And that's what I've been talking about the whole time. And what was Terence McKenna? He was also a shaman. Very clearly, he knew it. He had lectures on shamanism, right? He was not hiding it. He was just being very, very modest and very humble, because he knew the ego of other people really well. And he didn't want to get held down, so he was really nice. Basically, I see him as really nice, because he could have hammered us all. If he wanted to, he could have hammered everyone, and you'd just be crying on the floor. Under that knowledge, what he could say. Even his last quote's like, "Oh, I cried over the insect crawling over the table," and you're like, "All right, Mr. Nice Guy." But you think about the knowledge they introduced, like hemlines are rising and falling to the beat of ancient civilizations long ago. So